Welcome everyone. Sorry the video a little bit late out. Everything's getting pushed out this weekend. I try to get everything out in an orderly fashion. Halloween certainly complicates a few things. You got to put in the family time. It really should be a holiday, right? Halloween should be a holiday because I think I spend more quality time with my family. We're in costume and then with other families doing the same. There's a lot of good energy in that. Thanksgiving, I spend time with family, but after eating, I'm asleep on the couch and I'm watching football. Christmas, we're fighting nonstop. Just kidding. But Christmas with everything going on, Halloween is the breath of fresh air of a holiday, you know? You can knock back a couple cold ones along the way. So a lot's going to happen in the next few days. It's the quiet before the storm. The World Cup qualifier is about 10 days away from recommencing. And the big game, USA versus Mexico. A reminder, oh, by the way, this is the Soccer OG. First of all, I don't wear jerseys. I'm not a jersey guy. But the fine folks at Umbro told me to pick a Brazilian club. I'm a big fan of football. Yeah, football. And, you know, Pele, Neymar. So I went for the Santos. Also makes the black and white stripes makes me look pretty. So I went with this. I should have got a Grêmio jersey. Did you see what was going on at Grêmio? The fans were just so upset that they tore down the VAR setup. A lot of people were looking at that saying, I wish we thought of that. VAR sees everything. So hopefully these fans, you can't do that. Behave yourselves. Grêmio, once proud Grêmio, the club that gave us Ronaldinho, bottom of the Brasileiro. It happened so quickly and they have just gone, pfft. I'm not here to talk about Grêmio. I'm here to talk about USA Mexico and why I am a little bit worried, actually more than a little bit worried, because US, since defeating Costa Rica, trending a little bit down, at least the players. The situation with Mexico trending up. Healthy, guys playing, guys winning trophies, you name it. I think it's all coming around for Tata Martino. Remember, they have yet to taste defeat in these 6 games. They've gotten results on the road, and here they are on the way to Cincinnati. The Soccer OG will be in Cincinnati in the days ahead of the game, so stay tuned to these channels for some very special content. We are going to combine with our fine friends at El Tri Online, so we cover both sides. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. I have a USA Mexico preview where we do look at it. I got 2 former internationals, Casey Keller, great former U.S. international, Mariano Trujillo, tremendous former Mexican international, and see where these teams are. So where podcasts are available, I'm going to use a lot of what they told me on the podcast on this show so we can get an idea of where we are at. Both guys feel good, but there are some question marks. I think less for Mexico, but Mariano said that there are some concerns there for the Mexican side that if you look a little bit closer. And please subscribe and like the video here. Do it right now. You feel good about yourself. And I'll shave next time, I promise. I like this, a little rugged. I look like I could be like a number 6. My name is Mazinho from Porto Alegre, now living in Bragantino. I don't even know what I just said, but it was absurd. Okay, yes, things are fitting into place for Mexico. Let's quickly look at the U.S. and why I'm a little bit worried. We always knew the injuries with Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna were going to be tough. We got some good news. Thomas Tuchel saying that Christian Pulisic will travel with Chelsea to Malmo, they'll face Malmo in Champions League play. You may have seen that game by the time you watch this video. We're getting close to the Champions League games. He may play. If he plays, it's going to be very little amount of time. Maybe if they're up big against Malmo, which you would expect, he'd get it. That'd be great news. He'll definitely get some minutes over the weekend against Burnley, and that's good for his prospects for the U.S., that he gets called in. I don't think he's going to be a featured guy just because he hasn't played enough. Playing enough is important. I talked to Casey Keller about that, and it's so important for confidence and being in the flow. And you can't just wait to get in the flow against a team like Mexico because they're going to be in the flow because they are all in the flow. But that is good. It's a good development. He could have not gone to Sweden. He's there. That's great for Christian Pulisic. Then you have the situation with several key players in the midfield not playing. I want to say something about Weston McKennie And Weston McKennie is playing for a team that's really struggling in Juventus. I watched them this weekend, and he was the only guy that really had a pair. He came in and showed some pride. So Weston McKennie, good for you on a historic day in the Serie A. Gianluca Busio and Tanner Tesfans played together for Venezia in a scoreless draw with Genoa. Huge development for both the midfielders. Busio is a bright spot. Pulisic, McKennie, all moving in the right direction. There are a few other bright spots. How can we not talk about Joe Scally? And it's pretty remarkable when you watch him at Mönchengladbach how pivotal he is for everything they do. They get him involved a lot. And talking to Casey Keller, we kicked the tires on the idea he's going to get called in November. The roster is going to be announced soon, and we'll break that down when it does. He's going to get called into November. It's a young team. It's going to get younger, but that's fine. You got youth everywhere here. Could Joe Scally start at right back and allow Serginho Dest to move up in the midfield the way he's doing at Barcelona, where I think he's doing quite well, if he puts chances away, of course, which he hasn't, for a team that desperately needs it. But Dest is very active, and maybe Scally kind of slits in there. We said he's a good crosser of the ball. We don't have enough of that with this U.S. men's national team. So there you go. You have four guys doing well. And then it kind of stops. Some are worse than others in what's going on with them right now. Musa's worrying me because he had all the momentum and the bottom has fallen out, not getting enough minutes with Valencia. Tyler Adams not getting the minutes for Leipzig, who continue to really sputter. And that's our midfield. You want Adams, Musa, McKennie. McKennie's the one who's playing regularly. We've got to get these guys in there and confident and cohesive. The goalkeeping situation. Zach Steffen, they're out of the Carabao Cup, which means he's going to get less games. Matt Turner, remember Zach Steffen came in on that last game. What does that do? Should be a last-second decision, I would think. Greg Berhalter certainly brought out to his attention about that decision he made in getting in Matt Turner in this 2-game window. So we shall wait and see. We continue on with where these players are at for this U.S. men's national team. Chris Richards didn't start for Hoffenheim, which is a minor step. He came off the bench for that team. John Brooks has a new manager at Wolfsburg. They are struggling a bit. He played in a bit of a back three, which is a little different for him. We look for other developments on the defensive end. Mark McKenzie's not really doing... What's going to go on there? We have Miles Robinson. We have that. But what's that second piece going to look like in a pivotal game against Mexico? I'll get to that in a moment. And then up top, I can't get into everyone's details. Paul Arriola's back. I know a lot of fans here aren't crazy about that. He's going to probably get into this mix as well. He is our specialist. Matthew Hoppe just fell off a cliff at Mallorca. We talked about that. He was on the bench at least this weekend, but again, did not play. I think he still finds a way in here. And I'll tell you why here shortly. This all pales in comparison. Oh, quickly about Gio Reyna and Marco Ros saying there's no sign yet as when he'll be back. That hits you like a punch in the stomach, right? What? When is he coming back? So here we go. The U.S., whether they're ready or not, they're going to have to be for Cincinnati. And it's a 2-game window. And we can't forget the Jamaica game 4 days later. And is this the time where Leon Bailey, who started for Aston Villa, and Michael Antonio take a bigger role? Jamaican, it's now or never. This is at the office down there in Kingston. So this could be two. Look, these are 2 games that are going to come at you fast, and it'll see where we stand. Mexico have USA and then Canada in a 2-game window. So. Everything, and we'll know, this is it. This will be past the halfway point. We'll be at 8 games through these World Cup qualifying. So let's take a look at why I think Mexico are in really great shape. And when I spoke to Casey Keller, he said, and maybe a point's not bad. And I'm like, maybe you're right. Honestly, I'd be thrilled with a point right now at home. I know that's negative thinking, but get the point against Mexico. Make sure you stay in that top 3. It's all about qualifying. and do what you can against Jamaica. That's not going to be easy either. This might be a 2-point window. 2-point window, I'm not going crazy. I'm like, okay, advance. Just get through this. I hope it's 4 points. It's not going to be more than 4 points. There's no way they're getting 6 out of this. Because there's too many question marks. This is not a team at optimum health. Mexico, flourishing. And let us start with Raul Jimenez at the top of the list. Playing for Wolves, looking like pre-injury Raul Jimenez. Scored a goal, a beauty goal. He was involved in everything they do. He looks confident. He looks like he's not thinking about the injury. Rogelio Funes Mori playing, winning trophies with Monterrey, the CONCACAF Champions League. These are their offensive options doing well. Irving Lozano playing, healthy. The only setback is Tecatito Corona, but they have enough to cover with the quality they have there. Orbelin Pineda playing all sorts of positions and playing them well for El Tri. Some of their veteran players, I was really impressed with what they were able to do with guys like Cata Dominguez, 33-year-old, play him at right back, doing well. Guys from Liga MX ready to go. We diminished some of our guys here on the U.S. team. By the way, we got some minutes for Ricardo Pepi. But he's FC Dallas. Ricardo Pepi, not the same. It's coming a lot harder. He missed some action. They're expecting maybe a sale at the end of the season here. He needs to play. He is going to be the starting forward in this game. And right now, Jesus Ferreira on the FC Dallas team is playing a whole lot better. He's the guy that you notice when you watch Dallas. And heaven knows I've watched a lot of their games. Watching too much FC Dallas. Jesus Ferreira's been the better player. And maybe he gets a sniff. I doubt it, but perhaps. Because if you're looking at Pepe, you're going to notice Ferreira. So that's another question mark for the U.S. Now, with Mexico, it's all sitting into place. They can get performances from Cata Dominguez. Moreno and Araujo in the back, solid. You have Memo Ochoa being solid, playing really well and getting the job done on a regular basis. Edson Alvarez, and this is the discussion that I had with Mariano Trujillo. Is it Hector Herrera and Andres Guardado? He thinks that if it is that, the USA will be successful. That older lineup could cost Mexico in a big way. Edson Alvarez has to play a bigger role. He's a hero at Ajax. He plays maybe right up there with the great CONCACAF success stories across the pond. If it's Herrera and Guardado, USA, who he also brought up speaking about Mariano, is the success USA had in the Gold Cup final with a physical and fit team. Because of that, I think Greg Berhalter could turn to those guys in the Gold Cup final. And that includes Kellen Acosta, Sebastian Lletget, Paul Arriola. Gioacchini was in that game. He's playing a little bit for Montpellier. Maybe he gets into that mix. Zardes is not ready to go. He's injured. He's out. Hoppy was in that Gold Cup team, and that's why I think maybe you want a big physical guy like Matthew Hoppy in the mix. It worked for Berhalter. He has to keep it close to the vest here. He really does. Now's not the time to experiment. He'll bring in a Joe Scally, but how many of the younger players? No time to goof around here. Maybe Tim Ream, maybe Mark McKenzie, because these are guys that played in big finals against Mexico and played relatively well. Or the expression that I know you hate, but I know you like it too, does a job. This is going to be really interesting in the selection process. Remember, it's 2 games, but it could be 2 very different teams that we see for the U.S. here in November as they look to really get close to locking up a World Cup spot, which they could do. Cade Cowell, you say he played well for San Jose, but is he going to bring a guy like that to play? I don't think so. He may limit it out to Joe Scally, but this is why some other guys have to be in the mix too. Mexico, things are looking good for Tata Martino. The one drawback is this 2-game ban of fans because of the chant. That doesn't really affect the U.S. here because the game is here in Cincinnati. So someone else will benefit from that. The United States will not. The office is going to be a situation where it could be empty. Well, all of this is into the mixer here. But the I listen to Mariano, and I expect a very physical 11 roster preparing for Mexico because it works. Will Tata Martino be convinced not to go with Herrera Guardado? Would you give Charlie Rodriguez and Alvarado the chance to blossom? Does Orbelín Pineda play the way he did against El Salvador, a little deeper? A lot of good options, better options for Tata Martino than Greg Berhalter. So we'll reconvene after that game and we'll see where it went right. But this is a selection that is going to keep Greg Berhalter up at night. He's got to get this right. And I don't think a lot of you are going to like some of the selections because it's got to be physical, it's got to be been there, done that, and it's got to be very fit. That's kind of the foundation stones for the U.S. We'll get into this more. I'm a little worried, and that's why I wanted to talk to you guys. This is my therapy regarding with the U.S. men's national team. Check out the Soccer OG podcast where podcasts available. Get ready for Cincinnati. If you're going to be there, leave a comment. I read the comments, and maybe we'll have a frosty cold one or a cup of tea if it's in the morning, and let's have a good time.